shall we?
Yeah.
Here is Fabrizio Donoso then. He's the man starting on pole position. If he finishes on pole position by winning the race, he wins the championship. If Brendan Lee finishes in front, he wins the championship. Max Benecke not really in the fight. Sven Zerner in fourth. If he wins the race, he wins the championship. It's fairly straightforward. Patrick Holtzman in fifth place for Force India, who we've just heard from there, with Nikki Sally-Saltok in sixth spot in the Williams. Then in seventh position, Mads Sørensen, and after him, it's Alec van der Waal in the McLaren, completing the top 8. Tiziana Brioni is in ninth place in the Sauber, ahead of Gianfranco Giglioli for the Red Bull team. Then we've got Johnny Tormala in the Red Bull, ahead of Fredrik Rasmussen for Force India. Then down in 13th place is going to be Nicolo Fioroni, who hasn't qualified particularly well in any of the races, but has fought his way through the order. Harry Jack spoke to him after that last race. He said he had a lot of fun. They'll have a lot of fun again in this one, I'm sure. Sonic Sautung starting in 15th, ahead of Igor Fraga, the man who has just clinched the Academy Class Championship in the Brazilian Formula 3 Championship. Cedric Tomei in Ferrari in the 17th place. Alberto Foltron in 18th for Toro Rosso. In the back of the grid is Cembolok Bassi, the man who dominated the last race, and alongside him is Patrick Crouch, the first ever F1 Esports champion. Pole is Donoso, Lee alongside him as the lights go out and the race begins, and immediately it's Brendan Lee in the Toro Rosso, who looks to the inside and leads. The Toro Rosso is in front, and look at that, Sven Zerner's into second place from fourth on the grid. Brendan Lee leads, Zerner in second, Donoso on pole position, had the world in his hands and it has slipped away from him. Brendan Lee on the inset is leading, and if it stays like this for the next 14 laps, he will be the champion, Davide.
What a start for Brendan Lee, that he just breaks so deep on the inside at the first corner, and he took the lead. As he said before the race, I need to lead the race from the beginning. He did it. Well done.
Here they come down the back straight though. Two big slipstreaming opportunities. Is Sven Zerner going to be close enough? Not this time. They come into this little left-right chicane here of turns 8 and 9, and then accelerate on the second long straight. We're on board with Sven Zerner behind Brendan Lee. He knows if he overtakes the man in front, he will move to the lead of the championship, and he's closing in, coming down. Lee covers the inside line, locks up, but gets the car stopped in time. But this is pressure on another scale.
Yeah, it will be important here, this straight. Did you saw the control that he had to have Brendan Lee on the oversteer? When he went on throttle, he had to sure shift to third and try to avoid the oversteer. Now it's important to stay close to the car in front, to have the opportunity on the main straight to try the attack. The last sector of this circuit is one of the most difficult in the entire world. Too wide in the entry.
There go the polystyrene boards then. They won't see the light of day as they come out to complete lap 1. Brendan Lee leads by half a second, but Sven Zerner in second is only 2/10 ahead of Fabrizio Donoso in third. So therefore we have the top 3 in the championship, all on the top 3 in the circuit, and whoever finishes in front out of these 3 will be the champion. We're on board with Donoso Delgado. That's him on the inset there as well. You couldn't have scripted this, Matt, unless you did.
I wish I did. This is amazing. Cembolok Baxi's up to 12th already from 19th. You've got Harry Jacks, I think he was starting 14th or 15th, up to 10th as well. So there's been some big movers. Cem, unfortunately, still not close enough to challenge for the championship, but it is going to be very close indeed. It'll be interesting to see who hits first to try and get that fresh air.
Yep, and of course DRS not available just yet. It'll come on the next lap. That's when they can start using the DRS to open the flap in the rear wing, lose some of the aerodynamic drag, and close in on the car in front. Here they come then, along the second long straight in Abu Dhabi. The sun beginning to set. It's very much set in real life, but in this sim racing game, it is beginning to go down. And Brendan Lee leading the way for the Toro Rosso team. Right behind him is Sven Zerner, then Fabrizio Donoso. Those are the key men in this title battle. Max Benecke is in 4th place, 5th for Patrick Holtzman, 6th for Alec van der Waal, Giglioli, Tormala, Rasmussen, and Harry Jacks completing the top 10, just ahead of Igor Fraga as they all flash underneath, down towards the Viceroy Hotel there, illuminated on their left-hand side. And there's a little bit of a look from Cembolok Bassi trying to get past Igor Fraga, who sealed the Academy Class title in Brazilian F3 just a week ago. And Cembolok Bassi sliding around from 19th to 12th. That is a good effort.
Yeah, it was fantastic. He had a great start, and then we can see him. He's so aggressive, so determined to get position. Seems that he's stuck behind the rival, but he can run much quicker.
There you see DRS enabled, and you can just hear the radio engineer, Jeff is his name, letting Cembolic Bassi know that as well, as he's right behind Igor Fraga, who, whoa, big moment at turn 3 for Cembolic Bassi, just kept it all together. Igor Fraga only started racing because he had a race in Mexico City in real life, and thought, well, I better learn the track. He bought F1 2017, he's hooked, and now he's here in Abu Dhabi. Brendan Lee leading 0.4 of a second ahead up at the front of the order. We're on board with Sally Sautung, who has got this DRS now on the back of Cembolic Bassi, coming down into the left-hander. Don't think he's quite going to be close enough. Sally Sautung, there he goes, up the inside. Brave, late in the day move, and that is now 12th place for Sally Sautung. Unfortunately, his brother is out. Sonic Sautung is out of the race. The younger brother has retired, and he looks a little bit glum there, doesn't he? Lap 3 of 14. Brendan Lee leading the way. Here we go, back on board with Cembolic Bassi. Right up behind Sally Sautung. There you see it. He cut the corner a little bit, and he got a warning. You get too many of those warnings, you're going to get a penalty.
Need to be careful, as we have 2 in this lap already. I think if you start to get towards the 4 or 5 area, that's when penalties are going to start to be dished out. These guys are so close on pace, they'll be finishing within tenths of each other, and if they get a 5-second penalty, they're going to be dropping down the field.
So the race leader's about to come through to complete lap number 3 of 14 and move on to lap number 4 of 14. And Brendan Lee is leading the way, 6/10 clear of Sven Zerner. In early comes Cembolic Bassi, so he's trying to do a little bit different strategy-wise, as in came Igor Fraga as well, but Fabrizio Donoso only 2/10 behind Sven Zerner. This is Rasmussen and Joni Tormala that we're watching at the moment. They're squabbling over 8th position ultimately. Tormala in the Red Bull, Rasmussen in the Force India.
He can have a big chance on the main straight if he can stay close to the car in front of him. Just here at the exit of the hairpin, he's there. He almost tucked him in the middle of the corner. Now they're using the DRS.
And so is Fabrizio Donoso in the second of these Mercedes, coming down into the heavy braking zone. Brendan Lee is getting away, and he's a little bit late on the brakes there, Sven Zerner. Is that going to be the opportunity on the next straight? They both slide the rear end of their Mercedes out. We're on board with Donoso in 3rd place. That little beep opens up the DRS, and that is Sven Zerner, the man in front. There's Brendan Lee, who's at the front of all of these guys. He's the one who hasn't got the DRS because he's at the front of the queue and he just can't break away yet.
What's interesting is they're 2 Mercedes, they can't pit on the same lap, and these guys, it's only 14 laps, which means one of these guys, if they both dive in the pits, then Fabrizio Donoso is going to lose 6, 7, 8 seconds in the pits, so they have to be so careful, especially Fabrizio, but you'd imagine him being 3rd, he'll come in a little bit earlier than the guys ahead.
Yeah, that is a key part, isn't it? Just like real Formula 1, you can only have 1 car in the pits at any time. Well, you can have 2, but you have to stack and wait behind the other cars. So that means Donoso really is at a disadvantage, and here he comes now. Yes. So there we go. Donoso into the pits, goes over the way in.
Yes. 50 miles an hour. He literally hit it to the mile an hour.
So is he going to be able to use the undercut here? Where will he emerge, and will he emerge in traffic as well?
Yeah, but it was a good idea. He was stuck behind them, seems quicker than them, and the only chance to try to fight them is just to try to have an early pit stop. He did it. Maybe it can be the move of the day.
There we go. So Fabrizio Donoso has emerged well down the order. We're on board with Sven Zerner. Now this is good news for Zerner as well, because suddenly Davide doesn't have to look behind. He can just focus in front.
Yeah, you're right. It's a big advantage, because now he can be focused only in trying to attack Brendan Lee. You need to remember that you can try to attack here, but then also at the exit of the chicane. Prepare very well the exit to be ready on this main straight. And he's there.
He is super close here. Brendan Lee, the man from Reading, is under big pressure now. Look at the focus in his eyes, because Sven Zerner behind has the DRS, and he wants to make a move for the championship. Up the inside, and they make a bit of contact, and he goes wide. Brendan Lee cuts the corner, gesticulates towards Sven Zerner. They're still side by side on the exit, and Zerner is through.
He has to give a position. Yes.
And so Zerner leads, and Brendan Lee absolutely furious.
But you know why? Zerner braked so deep on the inside, and then he used all the track part till the white line. So I think that the overtake was just perfect. He used all the track, and he didn't exceed.
These two are worrying so much about each other that they're forgetting about Donoso, who is already pitted, and he will come out in 1st position, surely.
Well, that's the thing. These two have been battling, and Donoso, meanwhile, has had clear air. He's 7.5 seconds behind Patrick Crouch. So, what is going to happen here? Where are they going to emerge? Is Fabrizio Donoso, the man who started on pole position, fell back at the start. Is he going to be able to get back into the lead of this one. They emerge with the Toro Rosso in front, actually, of the Mercedes in actual fact. So Brendan Lee emerges in front of Sven Zerner.
Yeah, he got back the position in the pit stop. Sim test, the crew was just quicker than the driver.
But yes, Fabrizio Donoso is in front. There's the other Mercedes coming through. There is Donoso, there is Brendan Lee, and there is the other Mercedes of Sven Zerner. So it's Fabrizio Donoso Delgado, the man who started on pole position, who is in the net lead of this F1 Esports Grand Final in Abu Dhabi. As it stands, Fabrizio Donoso Delgado will be the champion.
You're right, Matt. The fight between Zerner and Brendan Lee gives the chance to Fabrizio Donoso to have a clear lap and to get the position. So, was very, very good.
So Brendan Lee, a second behind Fabrizio Donoso now. He will be determined, will the 18-year-old kitchen manager, to close in on Fabrizio Donoso in front of him. Alberto Foltran yet to pit in that order on the top left, as well as Patrick Crouch. I've been getting a bit of stick on Twitter for how I say Patrick Crouch, because apparently you meant to call him Patrick Crouchier, but I just went down and asked him after the race, and he said, no, I prefer how you say it. So
sounds better.
It sounds better. It sounds better. Here we go. On board, Patrick Holtzman, 7th place. There is Patrick, as he takes a much neater line there than Alan van der Waal, but Holtzman, who was number 1 in the qualifiers, the 23-year-old industrial mechanic from Germany, trying to make his way past Van der Waal, but not quite able to do so at the moment. Van der Waal's not bothering with any of the apexes, is he?
Yeah, you're right. Not so easy to manage the line in the last sector of this part because it's tight. You have the wall just beside you. If you miss a bit, you can crash. So, not an easy condition to drive in the third sector here in Abu Dhabi.
Brendan Lee has got the gap to Fabrizio Donoso down to 7/10 of a second. It was 1.1 as they came out of the pits. It ticks down to 6/10 of a second now. Lee is on the attack. Sven Zerner behind, about a second back. They're both going quicker than Fabrizio Donoso in front. We're still waiting for Alberto Foltran and Patrick Crouch to pit, but they started in 18th and 20th positions respectively. So as a result, they're on a different tyre strategy because they've got to do something a little bit different. Here is Brendan Lee, 6/10 of a second behind the Mercedes in front of him. This is for the net lead of the race. And there are the top 3 championship contenders.
It's coming under pressure, Fabrizio Donoso. We need to consider that Brendan Lee and Sven Zerner has 1 lap less on the tires. Maybe can make the difference at the end of the race, but have a check. Now, DRS open.
Yep, it pings open, and will Donoso feel like he has to defend? Lee tries to sell him the dummy, not quite close enough this time around. Will having 1 lap newer tyres, does the game know that, Matt, and it works that way?
Yeah, I mean, not in a 25% race, it's not as big as if they were to do 100%, but we don't have enough time for that. But in terms of that, it may be a 10th of a second, which will be the deciding factor between these guys. But right now, all I'm seeing is Brendan Lee absolutely fuming at the fight that he had a bit early before he pitted, and he is flying. I don't think Donoso, maybe the pressure's getting to him. He knows he's going to win this championship if he stays there, as Brendan Lee has no issues calling her.
Davide, how difficult is it when you're a bit annoyed about the car? You seem to me like the sort of person that maybe isn't very calm behind the wheel of a racing car. I mean, call me, I'm no sort of, cognitive expert, but perhaps I get that sense from you. Is it difficult to control yourself?
Yeah, it's so difficult, and it's so difficult for them because you want so much, win the race, but you need also to consider that you cannot overeat, you cannot overpass the line, you cannot try an attack that is too extreme because then you can be penalized and you can lose everything, all the prize money, you can lose the victory, you can lose the glory. So it's so important for them to be calm and to try to do the things right.
So much on offer for the winner of this. Not only a paddock pass for tomorrow, but also they get to choose a Grand Prix next season to visit with 2 paddock passes, 2 paddock club passes, 2 business class flights, a hotel room for 2. It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
$2,000 as well.
Oh, $2,000 as well. Yeah, exactly. So and they get a bit of a trophy as well.
It's an absolutely wonderful package, and let's just take a minute to look at the top 3. They're obviously on 3 on the track at the moment. We've got Patrick and Alberto still to pit, but these guys 30 points, 29 points. We've come to the finale of the F1 Esports Championship, and they are within 5 car lengths, all 3 of them. How good is that?
And it's so important for Fabrizio Donoso because look at the situation now. In the third sector, they are all completely packed, and then maybe he can have a little advantage in the first sector to try to open a bit the gap and to don't be attacked on the main main straight. Also Donoso, at the moment, is doing and managing the race perfectly.
So, if anything, they've now all pitted, haven't they? Alberto Foltrin and Patrick Crouch have now pitted, and they're dropping down the order. So that means the top three on the left of your screen: Fabrizio Donoso, Brendan Lee, and Sven Zerner. And if anything, Zerner is closer to Lee than Lee is to Donoso.
Yeah, you're right. There was a mistake in the first corner. Not an easy condition for Brendan Lee, that now he has to defend the position to Zerner. Maybe he's going to be out of the DRS zone. It will be even harder.
Lap 9 of 14, very much the closing stages of this F1 Esports series, which started a couple of months ago with the online qualifiers, then the semi-finals in London a couple of weeks ago, and now here in Abu Dhabi at the F1 season finale. We've got the finale of this as well, as they're all super late on the brakes, coming down into turns 8, 9 and 10. There is Sven Zerner. The focus on his eyes, as you hear the little bleep, that means you can open the DRS, but Lee's got it back under control. After that mistake, he's composed himself, and he is now back on the back of Fabrizio Donoso.
You're right, he's catching him so quickly. After the mistake, he just need 1 second to get back to Fabrizio Donoso. Seems that he's maybe just quicker in the second sector and not quick enough in the first one.
Lap 9 of 14 in what is surely the biggest racing esports event of all time. A really stunning location, and a little tap on the wall there for Sven Zerner, coming out of the left-hander at 19. A little tap on the wall without have done him any damage. There you can see Brendan Lee again focusing. 0.6 of a second, 0.7 of a second back from Donoso.
What I've noticed, you can see on the bottom right there, downforce levels. So Brendan Lee won on the front wing, which means he is as quick as you like down the straights. And that's where you noticed, Davide, was the fact he's so quick. He's really good at the traction zones as well. And that's how he pulled away from Sven Zerner, despite being 0.2 ahead going down the straight. He seems to be quicker than the pair of them, but just Brendan needs to just calm down a little bit. I feel like he's pushing just that too hard. He's now 0.8 behind Fabrizio, and he's not going to have a chance.
There are great battles all the way throughout the order, but I hope you understand why we're sticking with the top three battling it out for the championship. Alain van der Waal having a great fight in 4th position, trying to hold off Patrick Holtzman, but this is on board with Sven Zerner coming down into the braking zone. Look how close Brendan Lee is as we go on board with Zerner and see him there on the on the inset, I should say. The car salesman, 18 years old, from Pechbrunn in Germany, tends to race on the PlayStation. Look how close Brendan Lee is, though, in that Toro Rosso.
Maybe sooner that he's struggling a bit to maintain the pace.
Yeah.
Sometimes it seems to lose a bit of momentum. But now, the two of them, they are so close. And did you hear them before? Just when you're struggling in exit, sometimes they short shift to third, try to avoid the wheelspin.
Yeah, a little bit late there for Brendan Lee. But if we're on the final lap, Davide, which we aren't, but when we are, Lee just might as well go for it. Because it's win or nothing, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's too risky. And you need to consider the competition and the mentality of the champion. For sure, he will try to do something, but not too extreme. You don't want to be penalized and to give to the other the losing chance also.
The top three covered by 1 second on lap 11 of 14 in the F1 Esports Series final in Abu Dhabi. Fabrizio Donoso leading the way, Brendan Lee in second, Sven Zerner in third. Whichever finishes in front will win the first ever championship. And Davide, late in the day from Sven Zerner, up the inside.
You're a bad man, I heard you.
And there they come, side by side, and look at that. Brendan Lee is confused. He wants to know what's going on because Sven Zerner threw it up the inside at the hairpin at turn 7. And I think he's given the place back now to Brendan Lee. I think that may be what has happened.
You told them, just try, but no, it was too risky. It was too far away.
Just as we spoke about it, didn't we? We just spoke about it. And look at that. Donoso has been handed this championship. Can he keep it on the track?
Don't make it my fault. It's not my fault. It's not my fault. Lap 11 of 14. And there is Brendan Lee shaking his head once more. And that gives Fabrizio Donoso a 2-second advantage up at the front. It was a risky move going into 7. You have to sort of try something a little bit different, I suppose. But now, that man on the inset there, Fabrizio Donoso, is looking... I mean, we've still got a long way to go. We're only on lap 11 of 14. He's got a 2-second lead, but Lee is going to need some outrageous pace now to try and close in.
It can be an opportunity, because now you are a bit far away. You take a rest in your mentality, and now you try to come back. If you can catch him, you are going to try immediately to take the leadership. It can be an opportunity for Brandon Lee, but seems that Donoso is driving perfect.
It'll be interesting to see if we can get a camera angle of Sven Zerner's front of his car, because he's 1.5 seconds off Brendan, so I think he may have sustained some damage, because it is on full realistic damage, so he may have lost an end plate, which will cost him quite a lot around Abu Dhabi, because it's very much front reliant through a lot of these corners. So Sven falling away, but Brendan, can he catch Fabrizio?
1.8 seconds back on lap 12 of 14, so just 2 to go at the end of this one. This is Alec van der Waal in the McLaren that we're watching. He's in 4th place at the moment, ahead of Patrick Holtzman. They're having a nice little squabble over that 4th place finish. As far as the championship is concerned, they are separated by just 1 point. So whoever finishes in front out of these two, I think will finish 4th in the championship overall. So it's quite fitting, isn't it? Whoever finishes first will finish first in the championship. Whoever finishes 4th out of these two will finish 4th in the championship. How neat. Where's Cembolo Bassi, meanwhile? He's still only 12th.
But Matt is right, because it seems that Sven Zerner is struggling with this setup and with this car, and maybe can give the opportunity to Patrick Holtzman and van der Waal to finish on the podium today.
Yeah, because this is Sven Zerner here. There you can see him on the inset, and he has got that McLaren and that Force India closing right in on him now. Meanwhile, Brendan Lee is 1.3 seconds back now from Donoso. It was 2 seconds.
He's coming.
Oh, goodness me. Fabrizio Donoso leading the way. He has an aggressive oversteering style, studying in Geneva at the moment, having been born and raised in Chile. And he is only 1.3 seconds ahead with 2 laps to go. So if that's 0.7 of a second a lap, 1.4 seconds, 2 laps, that makes 0.
He can make it, you're right. He can make it.
Here we come then. This is Alec van der Waal now right on the back of Sven Zerner. So this is for the final podium position as they swing into the left-hander at turn 1. I almost turned around because we can see turn 1 from where our commentary positions. I thought, oh, I'll have a look in real. Oh no, this isn't real life.
Oh, he made a mistake. He went too wide, Zerner, and maybe can give the chance to van der Waal on the outside to try overtake. But he's under pressure. He has something on the car because he's driving so much on the fast corner.
And that could allow Patrick Holtzman to say thank you very much and go past both of them as they come down the back straight. There you can see Sven Zerner immediately covering the inside line. The little beep means the DRS opens for Alec van der Waal, and he should be able to get this one done. Looks to the outside on the run down into the chicane. Late on the brakes. The Mercedes is still there. They're still side by side. But it is done, is it? No, he's still hanging on. Actually, the Mercedes now is going to get the DRS. Here comes Patrick Holtzman in the Force India. He's going to get a double toe off both of them. They're going to go 3 wide here, down into the left-hander. The Mercedes trying to fight back. Here comes Holtzman up the inside. And the Mercedes of Sven Zerner holds the place.
Brendan Lee 4/10 behind Fabrizio Donoso. The fight for the championship is still on.
He is going to be having DRS on the final lap of the F1 Esports Series of 2017. These are the 3 battling over 3rd place, but it's all about Donoso versus Lee for the lead. It's just 0.6 of it. Well, it's gone up a little bit. It's 0.6 of a second now. They haven't quite started the final lap yet. They're about to come over the... And Lee's gone 1.3 seconds back now. And there is the McLaren going wide of Alec van der Waal. And here is Donoso and Brendan Lee. They're right together. The final lap of the Esports Series. And Brendan Lee, he has a chance.
Yeah, but how can Fabrizio Donoso now maintain the leadership? He was 2 seconds in front. In 2 laps, he's been catched by Brendan Lee. Seems unstoppable.
He's going to be shaking at the wheel. Let's look at Brendan. Look at him. He is a man on a mission. Oh, he's gone a little bit wide, though. Is that going to allow him the DRS? Well, he'll have double DRS. This is where he's got to think. Does he make the move now, or does he do it on the second DRS? Because it's 2 DRS detection zones. So if he goes past here, Donoso will have it.
Here comes Brendan Lee. Donoso covers the inside line. We're on the final lap. It's the battle for the lead. And Lee sells the dummy. And he just gets through up the inside. And Donoso has to cut the corner. And he's been given a 3-second time penalty for cutting the corner. And that surely is going to hand Brendan Lee the championship. Lee doesn't know it though, as they come down towards the next corner. There, through goes Brendan Lee into the lead of the race on the final lap to wrap up the championship.
Did you saw that move?
Yes,
outside and then inside was something unbelievable. You're right, was a Ricciardo maneuver, was a Formula 1 style. Amazing today.
It was Mansell and Piquet, wasn't it, going down into Stowe all those years ago. Possibly one for the adjudicators to look at, but I think, to be honest, I think Brendan Lee has driven pretty well throughout this race. There's not going to be too much doubt, I don't think, about his performance, because here comes Brendan Lee through the final corner. He has had to work for it, but he takes victory in Abu Dhabi, and surely victory in the F1 Esports Series of 2017. The first ever F1 Esports champion. He's shaking his head. I think he's a bit stressed.
You should be happy, because today you were amazing.
He just won the F1 Esports Series and he's shaking his head because he's like, I didn't win by 7 seconds.
Blimey, we're going to get a bit of a PK Salazar thing going on here, potentially.